Hello everyone, back at it again with this Packard Bell. In the last video you saw me tear this thing apart, see what's inside it and all that stuff, and I've since replaced the RTC, which was another video, and it's all back together and working, and I really like this machine so far. And along the way of getting it working again, I discovered a few we'll call them quirks of the system, and I just wanted to make a quick video here to go over the things I discovered, because it may help some of you who have an old Packard Bell that you're trying to restore. And you yeah, so let's just get into it here. So first thing we're going to do is open it up. And I'll show you what I've got going on here, which at this point isn't really anything special, but so I do have the original hard drive for this system, but I've pulled that out and you can see it's sitting here, and in favor of a compact flash to SD adapter, and I think I've got a 8 gig SD, maybe 16, I don't remember, but either way, it fits in there nicely. It's silent and much faster than that original hard drive. Still got the original sound card. So far it sounds really good, so I don't have any reason to change it out yet. The processor, in the first video I said I thought it was maybe 120 megahertz, but it's actually 60 megahertz, which is neat because it's the slowest Pentium ever made. So kind of cool. So onto the quirks here. I wanted to do the factory restore to this system, and this is my first time ever doing a restore on a Packard Bell, so I had to learn, which CD do I download, where do I get it from, all that kind of stuff. I found a Packard Bell Facebook group that maintains a file server of all the recovery images, so I was able to become a member of that group, get on there and download a few different images because I wasn't sure which one I needed. And this machine shipped with Windows 3.1, so I was looking for one that had that on it. Now the way you figure out which recovery CD you need is off the format number on the hard drive. And unfortunately I'd accidentally wiped the original hard drive, like completely, no possible way to recover data. So I had to do some sleuthing and figure out what that format number might be. Okay, I went retarded there for a second. So talking about the hard drive, let's look at this up close here. So I actually have two of these hard drives, and they were both sitting outside of the computer. They came in next to each other, and I knew one of them had belonged to this Packard Bell because I actually went back and watched the first video to figure out, try and get some clues on what hard drive was in here, and I could tell it was one of these, but I wasn't sure which one. So I looked over the labels carefully, and this white one here at the bottom has two numbers on it. The smaller number at the bottom, 10407, happens to show up on the back of the computer. I'll show you that real quick. So right here is that 10407. Hopefully that's focused good. So that way I was able to tell, well, that's 99.9% chance the hard drive that came from this machine. Now I still needed to figure out what the format number was for the hard drive, because the information on it had been wiped. So this other number right above the 10407, 555500, turned out to be the format number. The way I figured that out is just by browsing the file structure of the restore CDs for numbers similar to any number I could find, and there was actually on one of the CDs a match to this number. So I punched that into the recovery CD that had that number on it, and sure shit, it worked. So Yeah, if you've received a system that's already been wiped, or I don't know, somehow the data on it got lost, and you do have the original hard drive, that's how you can find the format number. If you don't have the original hard drive, I'm afraid you might be out of luck there. Couldn't find that number anywhere else in the system, so I don't know. You'd have to maybe find someone who has a similar model and ask them what their number is or whatever. So I'll go into more detail on how I figured out which format or which restore CD to use in a little bit. But let's finish covering the inside of this machine. So another cool thing I discovered about this is with the IDE port, it actually outputs voltage on one of the pins, although I'm not sure which one, because it was my understanding that the missing pin here that's used for the key is the one that delivers voltage to these adapters on some systems. But even without that pin, it powers up and at least tries to work. In this case, either the adapter or the board itself doesn't output quite enough voltage, and it intermittently gets detected or freezes up when you're trying to use it. So you do have to connect external power, and at least with this adapter, it doesn't cause any conflicts with the two power sources like that. So connect that back in. The other neat little thing is this fan power connector up here in the front. Actually has two different speeds. There's a low speed, which I'm connected to now, and these pins in the front are high speed. So if you think you need more cooling, you can just move that over. It'll run a little bit faster. Or if you're happy where it's at, you can leave it silent. So, excuse me. If we look under this floppy cable, you can see the RTC is sitting up a little off the board, and that's because I've got the socket underneath it, so I can easily replace that. And yeah, that about covers the insides of this machine. So I want to flip over to some screen capture and show you how you can figure out which recovery CD to use if you have the format number available. Alright, so what we're looking at here is a list of the restore CDs for Packard Bell that I've downloaded. These numbers here at the beginning I think are the part number and then the revision of that part number. And I just grabbed a bunch of them because I wasn't sure what I needed, and just kind of went through one by one until I found the one that looked like it was going to work. So what you can do is open up these ISO files with any program that can show you the contents of it. In this case I'm using Magic ISO, and I can just double click on this and it shows me the contents of that ISO. So what you're looking for is in the BU folder, and basically all you do is work your way from the bottom up and just start expanding these folders until you see some format numbers. So here's a 555-668, 555-667. There might be some more in here, but basically this disk is too new for the computer that I have. The numbers are too high, so that tells me I need to look further back. So for example, let's open up this one into the BU folder, start at the bottom. Now we're getting a little bit older, but still not what I'm looking for. So this first one I think is actually the one I need. And if we start down here, we can see a lot more numbers, and then boom, right there is a matching number to the label that was on my hard drive. So Took a chance, burned it to a disk, popped it in there, typed in that number at the right point, and sure enough it worked. So that's all you got to do to find the correct CD if you know the format number. If not, I don't know, you'll have to get creative. So yep, and as far as I can tell, the newest master CD is all you need. You don't have to find the specific one that was released at the same time the CD was. It doesn't seem. So yeah, that's about all I got for this machine. I hope that was helpful to some of you, and thanks for watching.